now I'm going to show you a couple of techniques. Both are, in a sense, hemming. One is for a waistband that might have elastic, just elastic in the waist. And then the other is just for a basic hem that you don't have a serger and you want to make sure that it's not a blind hem, it's a hem that you can see and that you don't want to unravel. So I'm going to start with measuring down 1/4 of an inch from the top edge. This zigzag edge is called pinked. It has been cut with pinking shears. That is also a good way to keep things from unraveling, but it's not necessary. This fabric just happened to be cut that way. So I'm going to fold under 1/4 of an inch from the right side to the wrong side. And I can use my hem gauge and measure along as I go. So in this case, I'm kind of measuring from the shorter part of the zigzag to the edge. So you want to do that all the way around either the pant leg or the top edge of your pants for an elastic band. This elastic happens to be just over 3/4 of an inch. So I want to make sure that the casing for the elastic is more than that. I'm going to go with 1 1/8 inches. That way I have enough for stitching and enough for this elastic to move through the casing. You don't want to make it too tight, otherwise it's going to be really difficult to feed the elastic through. So I'm going to fold it down using my hem gauge, measure a couple of spots, iron, measure again. If it's cotton, I'm okay leaving the iron flat for just a second while I measure. Another option is to measure and pin down. So I could measure and pin, measure and pin. These pin heads actually don't melt until it's really, really hot. So if you're at your highest iron setting, then yes, you might melt these little plastic heads on these. But otherwise, when you get better at it, you may not have to pin anymore. Okay, now this casing is wide enough for this elastic to slide all the way through as long as I stitch close to this folded edge. Okay, if I get too far in, you can see that it will be harder to feed this elastic through. Okay, I'm going to move my iron over and then start sewing this. Okay, and I still have a contrasting thread, that way you can see what I'm doing. What I like to do is line up this folded edge with what I call the toe of my foot. That way, where I'm stitching is about 1/8 from that edge. Your foot might have a little bit different setting or might have a little bit different look, but you really want to be as close to this edge without jumping off. Okay, I'm at a regular straight stitch, 2.5 length, back stitch at the beginning, and I'm following that toe all the way. Now, if you're working on the leg of a pant, you may have a circle. So say these are connected and you're going all the way around. You can put the pant leg around the arm of your machine and just work in a circle, rotating the leg around as you go. The waistband is a little bit bigger, and so it's a little bit easier to rotate without any issues. Back stitch at the beginning and the end. And now you can see I'm nice and close to that folded edge the whole way. And also, when I go to feed my elastic through, you can use a large safety pin, connect it to your elastic. I like to fold mine in half because it gives it a little bit bigger bulk to hang on to when it's inside. But also if you pin here and it starts to unravel as you're pulling it through your pant, you might lose the end of your elastic. So fold it over, put your pin in, and then you can start feeding this through, sort of like a curtain. Pull the curtain along the rod here. There we go. So that can work as an elastic waistband, or it could be the hem of a pair of pants. So if you're working on pajama pants, you would actually use that same technique for the waistband and the hem.